Let's talk about a few tips for shooting accurate. There's two absolutely crucial things that we need to have in order to make sure that our hits are solid. One is aim. If your aiming is not there, you're not going to hit what you're aiming at. So let's talk about aim for just a moment. Aiming has two parts. If we're looking at iron sights, then we're lining up the front and rear sights so that they look right, focusing on that front sight, and then making sure that front sight is covering the thing that we want to hit. So that is with iron sights, sight alignment. Where that alignment lines up on my target, okay, that is called the sight picture. So sight alignment, sight picture, absolutely critical for aiming. If you're running a red dot like I am, then actually superimposing that red dot as you're focusing on your intended target is crucial. Not necessarily focusing on that red dot per se. But if your aiming is not there, if your front sight or your red dot is not superimposed on your target, you're not going to hit what you're aiming at. So please make sure that your aim is there. Second to that is your trigger control, and which, by the way, I believe is wildly overlooked. A lot of people focus on just slamming that trigger, pulling the trigger as aggressively as they can, and they disrupt all the work that they've done to build a good platform for shooting. So when we talk about trigger control, we're talking about actuating that trigger in a smooth manner. In fact, as you're shooting repetitive shots, making sure that you have smooth contact, consistent contact on the trigger itself, making sure you don't let up. And do not move the trigger more than is absolutely necessary, knowing where your reset is and squeezing consistently back from there. At TRB, we talk about squeezing or pressing triggers, not pulling triggers. So aiming and trigger control are the two biggest tips to shooting accurately and repeatably shooting accurate. Now, third tip about that is the grip, okay? And with the grip, if I may, just talking about the grip here for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and switch over to right-handed for you right-handed people. Okay, so making sure that I have as much surface area covered on this firearm as I can. So a lot of people will assume this kind of grip, and as you can see, there's a lot of surface area above my thumbs that is not covered. I want to make sure that my primary hand thumb is up, thereby giving as much way, so that way my support hand can cover as high up as I can, as much as that frame as I can on the gun, and simply resting my primary hand thumb on my support hand. Okay, so if you notice here, really the majority of this frame is covered. And if I show you from this angle over here, the majority of this frame is covered. Okay, so grip is super important, making sure as well that I have equal pressure with both hands as well. Some folks will say more pressure on the primary and say a little bit less on the support. It's actually a misnomer. Having equal pressure on both hands is absolutely important. If you think about it, if you impose a force in one direction with one hand and you impose an equal force with the other hand, they will net out to be zero. If one hand has more pressure than the other, then it'll pull to the direction that wins. Okay, so grip is important too. Okay, and breathing. Okay, making sure that your breath, the act of you breathing, doesn't move or disrupt your position of the firearm. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, you gotta shoot at the bottom of your breath. So after you exhale, then bang. Well, if I breathe, bang, bang, that's slow. What I really want to do is I want to breathe such that my breath doesn't make my body move. And just to show for a moment, here, if I go ahead and move my upper body as I'm breathing, I'm actually moving the firearm. However, if I do what I call a belly breath, if I breathe from that belly, I'm not moving my upper body there by the gun at all. So breath control certainly has a couple parts to it, but making sure that your breath does not disrupt or disturb your position, okay? And finally is that follow through. If you noticed when shooting, my grip was there such that to support the gun going back to the spot it originated. So here I take a shot, okay? I settle back down on my intended target. I can do it again, okay? No problem, okay? Because my grip brings the gun back on to the target, and I'm not focusing on looking every time where my hits go. I'm focusing on making sure that I am repeating the same process, focusing on the steps, not the target. You can observe your target later if you like. So hopefully this is helpful. 5 tips, shooting more accurately. Make sure you like our videos and subscribe to our channel. We put a lot of content out there. We drop a video every Tuesday for your viewing pleasure. And we vary up the content so that way we stay relevant for you.